Let's get to explain it. There's this game right here is called Godopoly.
Godopoly.
Okay, entitled by Marjorie. And the objective of the game is to stay away from evil so as to grow your soul. Now, immediately somebody might anticipate, well, what's the point of this game? And the point of it, the person we're asking, as far as the responsible question, goes to the creator of the game, which in biological consequence would be God. Now, if God is said to be the three omnis, and we're going to presuppose that he is, and he creates this game, then we also want to know who we are before this and after this, and we want to start tackling some of those questions. So Marjorie and I kind of devised this idea that we are either God immediately spits us out by his hand and we're created in this game so as to go back to heaven or go back to hell. Or another option that we have is that we've existed simultaneously next to God as eternal beings, always existing next to him, whereas we never had a creation. Doesn't mean we could be destroyed. Oh, that's another thing we need to talk about, if we could actually be destroyed. Physically we could be destroyed, maybe, but not spiritually,
yeah.
Which would make us... if we cannot be destroyed, that puts the limit on who can't destroy us, and if God can't destroy us, that would make him all powerful. So maybe we could be destroyed.
Maybe we can only be destroyed by God.
We can only be destroyed by God. That would seem logical. Okay, so let's grant that too, that we can only be destroyed by God, and that so since we're existing eternally next to God, we need to have some distinguishing characteristics that are not just the fact that he could destroy us, because then we're all gods, but only one of them could kill me. Kind of like a virus attacking each file in the system, each of the files being equal, but one virus has the power to eliminate and just put them in the trash bin. Okay, so with that in mind, this God...
That's a good distinguishing, that he can destroy us.
Yes, that is good. But if we were to continue adding, which I think we were speculating a lot about, what if we were all-knowing? And we got into this idea wonderfully that could we have the attribute of all-knowingness if we were to exist simultaneously with God, being eternal beings next to him. So what that would entail if we're all-knowing is that it would include us knowing the future. And if we knew the future, we would know our creator's thoughts, and we would know why he's creating this game for us. So that wouldn't be a problem, except we'll have to grant that also. If we're in this argument, we'd have to grant that we are eternal beings that are all-knowing, that know the future, that know the creator's thoughts, and know why. But while we're in the state of this game that we're put through, Earth, this existence that we're experiencing right now, we would have to be ignorant. And before we were put into this, we knew what was happening. We knew we were going to go into the stage of ignorance. And when we leave, going to the end result, which is hell or heaven, or maybe just multiple retries at soul making, we are going to eventually know again out the end result, and pretty much that. But another thing that we were bringing up was that if we were to know everything in the future, including this game, there seems to be two logical possibilities that'll follow from that. That's that there's this whole Godopoly game that God creates for these infinite creatures would be either shrouded, that as all-knowing beings we could see the future, but we just can't see the stump in the road right here, which is an experiencing that we can't know, but yet we can still see the end result. That's one option. Another option is that we can see everything, including our actions. We could see our end result, but that wouldn't be as gratifying. Or we could probably see only so far, then we stop at this point of the board game, and we also can't see the end result. So we have three options. We were focusing on the option of what would happen if we were to go through this as this being a block in the road and we were able to see the end result. If we're able to know everything beforehand, there would be a reason that we can, as the ignorant person right now thinking about this, we would be able to know, or at least assume, at the very least, that we knew what we were getting into. We knew that this experience would be gratifying, and this gratification is something that could have never another time been achieved. So technically it's a gift from this creator, even though we're experiencing evil, so there is a reason for it. And that we know where we're going, so we know why our strength, soul-making, and character building is giving us reason towards why we're going here. So the immediate objection I think everybody assumes is, what about the aborted babies that Are they going to hell? Now, it would seem only fair if we were going to really give too much credence to this example of God, as to say that all the aborted babies don't go to hell, but actually go to heaven, or they keep retrying at earth in this reincarnation cycle.
And one other thing is we have to put like a whole perspective into it. Like these unborn babies are children of people that are on a part of this game. Like they are the children of the people that are, part of this game. Babies don't come from nowhere. So the purpose of the baby could be for the purpose of another being that exists on the earth.
Oh, yeah.
It has impact towards...
So there's two eternal beings right here. God spitting the soul, I guess, into the mother, which when she was a baby, she grew up, and now she is a baby, so that second soul is being spit into the next one, the baby, her baby. And so technically we're looking at two infinite beings. Maybe they have no relation up here, but nonetheless, they know each other down here, and they grow together so as to create that soul.
And also the baby's like, okay, well, I'm not going to remember this, but I need to go to this game or this place in order to impact this person because I'm going to come out and she's going to love me and I'm going to die and that's going to affect her, and then she's got choices to make in reaction to her trauma. So
ooh, yeah, okay, so the ability for me to come in here affects other players, and the fact that you're able to affect other players is another reason besides, another reason for having the game. So two reasons for having the game. One is that it's an experience, if you're assuming that you're an all-knowing creature and that you can see only so far as the game and the result, that being hell or heaven, that one goal you could reap from that is that you get to have an experience that you've never had. You're all-knowing, but you haven't had one experience of knowledge that is this earthly experience with free will and good and evil as a logical consequence. And so you're given that, and so that seems to be a gift. That's one goal. And then you mentioned another goal, that you're able to help other players that are trying to do the same thing you are.
Perhaps these little babies are on their final life. Maybe there's just one more thing they have to do. You haven't impacted a soul, enough yet. So you're going to have to go in and have heart failure as a 2-year-old, and you have 2 years left, and that will affect the soul of the parent, which will bring them a step closer to where they need to be. Because even if they wind up here, eventually, supposing that eventually they will go back. So that's part of the soul making. These young dead babies they contribute to soul making as well. Maybe their soul is there. It's like, okay, I'm going to take this burden and make that woman cry because you know what? It's going to help her somehow.
So I like that idea. Let's play with that. So if we're all essentially players in this game, and we're each helping each other out, and we're each affecting each other, and that's the goodness behind it. Then, how?
It's just more pieces of the game.
More pieces of the game.
That person can come in and sock that girl in the face, and she's got the option to sock him back, and show like a vicious personality or turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
She's got that option. In her soul making. Like the players, we have to consider that there are other players too.
You know what? I just thought of an interesting one. What if God, could God know this game? Because if God knows this whole game and we know what God thinks as all-knowing creatures, then we know the game already. So maybe we're limited to two things, or God's limited. Either as infinite beings we're limited to this game and also God's knowledge of the game because God knows the game, or we're limited only by the game, but you mean this is a block in the road, we can see the end result, but only that we know, but God is deficient in his knowledge also, that God also can't see the game just like us to make us equal.
I think he can see it.
So then if he could see it, then that would make us not able to know what God thinks in some respect, because if God could see this whole game and we know everything including what God thinks, God sees this game, we are limited by knowing what he thinks about this game.
What's wrong?
So we're all knowing creatures, right?
Yeah.
We can see the future, and so we're existing simultaneously next to him.
Yes.
We can't see this game right here in front of us.
We can't see it?
Yeah, presupposing we can't see it. But we can see the end result.
Oh.
Okay. Where we get into trouble is if we know everything, but except for this. Could we also know what God's thinking? And if we know what God's thinking and God knows this, we know this too.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
well, I think we do know this. I think we forget when we come.